And
First question already.
my God, away you go, Duncan. Duncan Davis. Welcome to Bases 2020.
Hello, Miles.
Well, hello,
Thanks
sir.
for having me.
Isn't this great?
I just want to say it's a shame James isn't here today.
Yes,
I just wanted to put that in there,
it is a shame that James isn't here today.
you know.
Well, Duncan, you've had a lot of discussion outside with Her Majesty the Empress of Norway, and we do have a few questions available for you on the screen. There's the screen there. You can see the live screen. So there it is. You can see it. They can see it, and they can see you. Now, you've talked quite a lot of detailed stuff on this Saturday afternoon, but the purpose of this is to really give people a better aspect, a better wisdom about what the heck the whole thing's all about. And we thought that the best way to do that would be for the audience to ask some questions.
Yeah, because you did a fast blast a while back, and I came into the comments and said hello, and everyone wanted to ask stuff about Tim, and we ended up chatting for another 45 minutes after you'd stopped your broadcasts.
Oh my God.
And it was a lot of work for me because I'm frantically trying to type, you know. And I thought, wouldn't it be easier if I could just sit here and answer questions verbally?
Okay, well,
And try and catch everyone's questions, even if I don't know the answers or what they're asking me, you know, it's whatever.
anyway, Dunks, if you could pretend that I'm actually behind the screen as opposed to to your immediate
Yeah,
left.
I know, I thought of that as I did it.
Camera right, camera left. And you're actually sitting on the car park bench beside Westbury Whitehorse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been there a few times.
Yeah. Now, there happens to be a deep underground military base underneath your chair at the Westbury Whitehorse, isn't there?
First I've heard of it. But I tell you what, out of all the places I've been to visit crop circles, I've always had the best experiences at the bottom of that hill, which has been interesting.
Well, the bottom of that hill is, and we got a question, where, well, the bottom of that hill, there was a great battle to get the Vikings out.
Really?
Yeah, that was the Great Seminole Vikings. The Vikings were repelled, apparently, at that area. Okay, first question.
Yeah.
Where do you get your primary inspiration from?
Hang on, can I just stop you? That's the second question.
That's the second question. What's the first question?
Ev Purr, who looks like their logo looks like my Flower of Life logo. Does Tim see anything good in the near future for humanity? No. If yes, which year will things turn for the better? Cool.
That's a huge question, because the whole reason why we're in the thing we're in
it's up
is...
to you lot, how long it takes. But I have spoken with Tim about this quite a lot, and things don't happen overnight, as you all know. And our plan with the Magic Kit, for example, to make Illuminism public, so you've got what they've got, is a 25-year business plan that started last year. Taking on the whole thing with Chaos and the A-listers and the Rothschilds, that's a 10-year business plan. So yeah, nothing in the near future, but if things are going to get turned for the better, I'd say at least 10 years. And I know it's not what people want to hear, but...
Well, we want to hear what's actually going to happen. We want to hear the bees.
Think about how much chaos there is in everything, and we want to get rid of that chaos, and we want the public to help us do it if you so want to join us. And it's not an easy task. And I'm going to relate back to something that we talked about in the last interview that actually quite pissed off a lot of people, because we brought it up and then we didn't say anything about it. And that was Chaos itself. Because I know that something had happened with Tim and Chaos. After everything Tim has done, Tim has only just become totally no chaos. And that's Tim. So if it's taken Tim that much power and time and effort and work to get rid of all the chaos in his immediate vicinity, how long is it going to take us lot? A bit longer, I would have thought. You know, so that's all I can say really about that. Bear with us. See what happens. See where we are 10 years from now. But the idea of us is that, yeah, everything we do, a lot of what we do is brutal and harsh in the way it comes across, but we have to be like that because of the way chaos is. And our future world doesn't have chaos in it. That's not what we want for the future. We want a golden age. We want everyone to be able to manifest what they want using the science of reality, which is what the Sanhedrin Illuminati have kept from you all, and which is the point of us producing our websites and giving you all these secrets, even if you don't understand them. It's so that you can slowly start to learn how you've all been fucked over as Goyim, which has gone on for thousands of years, and the way that we've been used by supernatural spirits, and they bleed all these energies from us that no one's taught you apart from Tim. The bioplasm, the Higgs field that's in you, the death force, the hyperinfinity that comes out of your bones, which is why we make bone generators. So your bones producing hyperinfinity is producing free will. And anyway, I'm starting to sidetrack here on something else. So I do, yeah, but that's what I'm like. I do. I just go off on a tangent.
Sorry to fade myself up there. So, okay,
So,
explain more.
Which part of it? I could go off in a million different directions here.
Well, why don't we start at 1,000,001?
Yeah, ask me a proper question that I can actually answer, because I've just lost myself in saying all that. See, and the trouble is, is that when I start talking about Tim's stuff, he's taught me so much stuff that a simple question, I start thinking in my head, oh my God, it's going to take me 2 hours to explain
Okay,
this.
well, let
How do I condense that into 5 minutes? And it's really hard. It's not easy.
You've got 2 hours or whatever. Okay.
We've got a couple of hours. So, we want the
we've got a
golden age,
really-
and we want you in the future to be able to manifest, not just by thinking about it and then doing the work and it happening, actually understand it scientifically. So when you create your manifestations, what realm are you accessing, and where is the energy coming from for you to create that, and where is it going? And going back to what I was going to say before, I've remembered now, is that the problem we've had as Goyim is that we've been food for these supernatural spirits and a lot of alien entities. What Tim's done is produced the only technology in existence that takes that away from them and gives it to you, so that you farm them instead as humans, because that is how this multiverse was generated. Don't forget, it was created by Yaldabaoth. The Archons are insectile, and this multiverse is a parasitic multiverse. And for us to understand it and do something about it, we have to accept that and understand it, or we can't move past all this chaos and crap and all this love's going to save the world, when I've said before, the Elohim produced all the death and destruction and anti-good in the love earth code for love, so that when we spread all this love, we're not actually helping anyone. And I always say, look back to the 60s, when you had all the uprising of the hippies and they all spread love and light out into the world to change it. And the manifestation of that has been in the last few years, and it's only made things worse. So, yeah. Next question. I'm just having a look. Hello, everyone that's saying hello to me. Where do you get your primary inspiration from? Well, you know who that is now. That's Tim. But before Tim...
Why did you explain how you met Tim?
How I met Tim?
And bring that story out as to how that all happened.
Tim is my primary inspiration, and I'll tell you why. Because as a big light worker with the YouTube channel I had, all I ever wanted to do was find the truth. I didn't care what it was, and I didn't care if everything I knew before that was wrong, because I found the truth. I just want the truth. Oh, hang on. Any connection with 8 and octagons? Yeah, could come back to that. So I went to see Mary Hardy. Now, I met Mary when I had this big music company and I moved it to Brighton. And I used to sit at my office window looking out into the middle of the road. And in the middle of the road was an obelisk, St. Peter's obelisk. And I said, you know, I was there for hours and hours I spent looking at this thing. And I used to look at the angles on it and think, it's not just a monument. There's something there, you know, the specifics of these things. So I went on Google and I Googled St. Peter's Obelisk, Brighton. And what came up was Colin Bloy. I didn't know who Colin Bloy was. I had no idea. He was just a bloke. And Colin Bloy wrote this thing saying, I learnt to douse outside St. Peter's Obelisk in Brighton, and with my job I travel all over the world, and I go to Adelaide, and for instance there's a fountain there, and I walk around with my rod and it moves, and he walked around like that, and he said, oh, there's a 32 pointed triangle. So I've got a coat hanger, I've gone out to the obelisk and I've stood there, I've walked onto the grass and it started spinning round, and I'm freaking out like you would, you know, whoa, what's this? So I walked down the Stein towards the fountain and everything, and you see the fairy rings on the ground. Well, where they grow, there's a vortex, and every time I walked across one, it would spin round, and I'm going, this is, you know, magic. What, I've discovered something. So I did a bit more Googling, and this thing came up for the Canadian Dowsers Association, and it said, Mary Hardy presenting this thing, da-da-da-da-da. So I got her email address, and I wrote to Mary, and I said, look, please help me out here. I've just discovered Colin Bloy dowsing, da-da-da. And the email she sent me back said, Dear Duncan, you are a natural born grid keeper. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? You know, what's a grid keeper? What are you talking about? So, you know, I was in mastering in the music industry, so I had lots of, like, there were the pop clients and things like that, and I'd tell them about this stuff and they'd all take the piss out of me. So what started to happen was they'd ring me up and they'd go, is Gridkeeper there? That's how I didn't choose to become Gridkeeper. That was given to me and it just stuck. So anyway, Mary came over within a couple of weeks and we made a film together, and she took me around all the ley lines, the monuments and stuff, and she taught me the science of vortex energy. So we made the Holy Grail Vortex video, and we learnt about orbs. I developed a camera that could take orbs. Anyone I gave the camera to could see interdimensional beings with it. I managed to link it up to a video camera, so I was on this mission. Then I got into crop circles. Now, when I was doing the crop circles, I used to read all the channelings, all of them, and I'd print them off and collect them in binders. And the Elohim used to talk about the ground crew, and I was like, yeah, I'm the ground crew, I'm doing this, I was doing that today, maybe they could be talking about me, and you sort of feel like you're on a mission and you're doing something, and that's your job. And yeah, the Elohim, they were everything to me, and especially with my blood background, being descended from Amun-Ra was a big deal to me, you know, not just because of that, it was all the history that went with it, and then the King Harold thing, it's exciting, it's interesting, you know, okay, there's something here, what can I learn from it? And then I found out recently, King Canute is my 31st grandfather, and there's loads more.
I think that means I could be your grandfather.
Ooh. So my main mission was to finally go to America and meet Mary, because Mary was, her family, they were taken by aliens in about 1985 or 82. And they were given the technology information of how to build these pyramids. So Mary built a replica of the Giza Pyramid, the Temple of Saqqara, they called it. And it held the fault line together in America. It still does today. It does a job. You know, it's an organ generator. So I went over there 2 years ago, and I stayed with her for 2 weeks, which was an incredible experience. And I got to go in the pyramid. And I then went... Oh, I won't say all this because it's quite private for them, but I went to a different pyramid and I had a completely different experience. I was taught how to open and close a pyramid from the inside. You do it with your mind, it's like a flower thing. And then this vortex appeared and I stood up and I was carried around the room like I was at Butlins in the whirlpool, in the water. It was quite incredible, really. And then these 4 light beings came down. This has never happened to me before. And they're there, I'm seeing them, these silver things, white silver things. And they're talking to me about my life and other things, and they're telling me about my girlfriend and some other things. And it was all good. I had a good experience. But then one night something happened to me. I went to sleep and I woke up in the underworld. And I'd never had this memory of waking up and being in a realm like that before. And all these dark entities were trying to kill me. It was like I was in a hospital. It was all dark and I'm in this corridor. And these things came round the corner with feet on, and they're black and dark, and they were like the things that run around in Stranger Things, which is based on truth. When they're in the universe B, behind the tree and all that, those beings, they appeared in front of me and they were trying to kill me. And I remember running out of the hospital, and I got to a cliff edge and I looked down and there was a river at the bottom. For me, it was the size of a pencil, and I jumped off into the water. And I always thought, why did that happen to me? That wasn't right. And yeah, in the end, I told Tim, he told me I should have turned around and killed the entities that were chasing after me. But what happened was I came back to England and I went to Brighton with Annie, and we went to the fountain and we did our ritual that we used to do. And as we walked off, I noticed this guy, and he was very scruffy and untidy. He looked a bit trampy, had an old woman's shopping trolley. And this guy knelt down in front of the fountain and he put a crystal on his shoulder, and I thought, what's he doing that for? Got a clear crystal, and he starts drawing these square patterns on the ground. Of course, I'm going to ask him, what are you doing? So I said, you know, what are you doing? And he said, I said, are you working with the ley lines? He said, yeah, I'm working with the earth grid. And I said, oh, we do that. You know, thinking we're all on the same page. And I said, oh, yeah, we've just been to the Temple of Saqqara in America. I said, we worked with a Templar group, and with a group of us, we created a vortex that came over the sea, and we stopped the storm that was trashing Florida and everything like that. And you know what Tim did? He looked me in the eye, and he went, I started that. And I went, and I'm turning inside out inside. I'm like, I don't know, what do you say when you've just met someone and you said, yeah, I stopped that storm. And he says to you, I started it. And what got me was this, is that I felt that Tim was right in what he did. Even though I'd just met him, I felt that so strongly. Anyway, he said to me, I've got a couple of websites, go and have a look. So I went home and I found that it was the supernaturalspirit.com. And I've told you all this before, go and look on it, because what you've got to remember is that Tim worked for the Rothschilds. Now find someone else in the world that worked for them doing their magic. You can't find anyone. And Tim worked with Colin Bloy, who was a Satanist. I never knew that. I had no idea who Colin Bloy really was. And I've just thought of something else I could tell you about Colin, but I'll go back. So when I did my film with Mary, I took a picture off the internet of the fountain, the inception of Fountain International on St. Michael's Day. And that's always been in my film. And it was in my film, say, 13 years before I met Tim. Tim's in that picture. Tim is in my Holy Grail Vortex film, and I never knew it. And when he met Colin, he was like I was back then. Everything is love. Spread love everywhere. You'll change everything. And you'll save the world. I'm going to save the world. Colin took him to one side because Tim can see what we can't see. He can see the ley lines. He can see the energy fields around your body. He can see your chakras. He can see the parasites, the entities, all of it. Every bit of it, he can see it. Aleister Crowley couldn't see it, but his assistant could. Dr. D couldn't see it, but Edward Kelly, his assistant, could see that. So Tim could see. Colin brought him into MI6 and started training him up. Then they offered Tim loads of money, which he accepted. And he started doing these world stage rituals. He hasn't told me what they all are, but he was taught what the Rothschilds know. Now, the difference between the Rothschilds, and some people tell me there's other families, there's families with more money. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What you've got to remember is that the dark matter entities, that have tried to take over this planet, this realm, this dimension or whatever, these entities are inside the Rothschild. That's the point. That's why it's them and no one else.
What about the Rockefellers?
Yeah, they're in them, but not as high, not as high ranked. So you've got these 13 ranks.
Okay.
Yeah. And people talk about where they came from, and you've got all these things on the internet and all this. And I said to Tim, where did they tell you they originated from? And the way I see it, I'm looking for the ultimate truth. Now I could go and read on the internet and find all these things people have written, but really it's just hearsay. Even when Tim tells me something they told him, it's still hearsay. When I'm talking to you, it's hearsay. But I look at the amount of steps it comes from, where the information actually came from. So Tim's information, where did that come from? It didn't come from a step away from the Sanhedrin Illuminati. It came from the Sanhedrin Illuminati. So when you learn Illuminism from Tim, you're one step away from them in gaining that information, which must mean something. So the Sanhedrin, we're talking King Solomon. King Solomon worked out how to talk to entities. It had been done before that anyway, but he wrote the Book of the Dead. He was an archmage, necromancer, and he worked out how to command the Goetia demons. I always call them Goetic, but it's pronounced Goetia. So he started the Sanhedrin Illuminati. Obviously, he's popped his clogs. The Sanhedrin have moved on. So we go through time, and now the Sanhedrin have worked out that they can put you into debt. They can take money from you. Now, Tim always talks about this, the Rothschild money system. This is how it started. Now, I'm going to stop there, go back to the Abraham ritual and come back to this, because Abraham made a covenant with the angels. And these angels were Michael, Raphael and Gabriel. And this is all to do with Kabbalah. So you've got the left pillar, the right pillar. You've got the green, the white, the red, the white and the green. The red is for all the bad stuff. The green is for all the good stuff. Now we used to call all the good stuff sublime good. So our one world religion is sublime good. It's about sublime good, trying to teach everyone that it exists in a world full of chaos and utter shite. So Abraham's done this deal with the three of them, that they will teach him how to take energy from other humans to benefit himself, and obviously the angels benefit from it. And that was the ritual. So that was the Abraham ritual that created the Goyim. So we all became Goyim from that moment. Abraham then starts this chosen race. As Tim says, the chosen torture beasts of Yaldabaoth. Still lower brethren, still there to be sacrificed by the Sanhedrin, in as much shit as we are, even though they'll never, ever see that. They'll never see that. They're in as much shit as we are. So are the rest of the Illuminati. So is the NSA. So is everyone like that. They all are. Unless you're Sanhedrin, you're in the shit. So you can look in the Bible, and I don't relate to the Bible very much because it's one of my enemy's books, which is Jehovah, Tetragrammaton, Chaos, Evil. And you see the years they were living from started going up, and so-and-so lived to 600. He begot a son that lived to 850. So-and-so then lived to 1,000. Well, how did that work? Taking power off people that are donating it to you. That allows you to live longer, and because they were in with the supernatural spirits weren't feeding from your soul. Now, all your souls aren't in you, they're outside you. It's your biofield, that's your soul. And I'm going to go relate to one of Tim's products, because it was the first one I got, really, and it was the anti-aging crystal. It's only a cheap one. But I said to Tim, how the hell does a little white crystal that costs 50p and you've charged me $600, how can that help me to live to 100 years old, or even maybe 150 years old in this day and age? He said it's easy. the torsion field inside it, no negative torsion fields, it's just one clear crystal. That's all supernatural spirit is. There's no negative torsion fields on supernatural spirit. It's not vampire or psychic warfare, it's different. Keep it on your left side, and it creates this energy field around it, spinning. And it also links to your bones, which are bone generators that produce your free will, hyper-infinity. That's a whole nother story. And these supernatural spirits, so in Tim's last video, he's talking about the monuments and all the entities that come out and they jump on you. And most of you call them attachments, and you have to go and see a shaman or someone and they'll get rid of them. Well, what happens when they get rid of them and you walk off past another obelisk or you go through the park past the water fountain? They jump back onto you. And Tim calls them, most of them are larvae. He says they're baby supernatural spirits. They jump onto you and just feed from your soul, and they grow into proper supernatural spirits. Mental. So yeah, anti-aging crystal. That's how it works. So Abraham, right? Let's go back to what we were talking about before. Abraham, Sanhedrin, Solomon. We're getting to the good bit. This is my favourite bit. I always wanted to understand this. The whole thing about Christ. You know, there's a difference between the Christ and Jesus. I ain't going to talk about that now. That's a whole other ball game. Kettle of fish, even. So, Solomon, Sanhedrin. So now you've got Jesus' time, 2,000 years ago. And the Sanhedrin have concocted this idea of lending people money. You owe me money, but you're not just giving me money back, you're giving me your free will, which is leached from your bones as hyper-infinity. God, I'm gonna follow this path all the way to London. So I hope I don't get sidetracked in my mind. So excuse me if I pause for a bit, but I'm making sure I don't.
Do what it takes.
Yeah. So you've got Jesus going into the temple. Now, how many moneylenders? Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin. I just want to say, if you go on Wikipedia, they say if you go on Wikipedia, they say the Sanhedrin was disbanded years ago. And I asked him about this, and he said no. He said no, they're just secret. Now, BBC4 is a great channel for late night documentaries, great music documentaries. And I think it might have been late last year, they did, that's it, Sanhedrin. They did a documentary about the history of Israel. And I thought, I've got to watch this. So I'm watching it, and about halfway through, this chap's gone to Israel, and he's gone in this room, and it looks like a big courtroom. And you've got the Jewish logo, and one person standing there. And the guy is standing on a balcony in front of the camera, and he says, behind me are the Sanhedrin. And I tell you what, I nearly fell off my chair. I'm taking photos of the TV screen. I've got the pictures somewhere, and I've got some of the Sanhedrin in this room. And Tetragrammaton is 72. The Goetia demons, there's 72 of them. And this guy says, behind me are the Sanhedrin. They meet here so many times a week or month. And at either meeting, there's either, I forgot one of the numbers. It was either 20-something people or 30-something or 72. So there's 72 of them at the in this Sanhedrin meeting. And this was on BBC4, and the cameras are there in this room. And I'm like, how the hell did they get away with showing this on TV? So I went through some of my photos, and I tell you what, some of the people noticed, some of the people in that room as the Sanhedrin didn't want that cameraman there, because you should have seen the daggers that some of the people were giving him behind his back. But how he got to do it, I don't know. Maybe they think, well, it's only BBC4, late night, no one's going to watch it. The people that do support us anyway. I don't know. Why would they do that? But yeah, the Sanhedrin...
I think you're right. That's it.
Yeah, the Sanhedrin are alive and kicking.
But is it because they need to tell us?
They need to tell us everything. Tim's really open about that, which I like. That's good. That's good. So, where are we on now? Right, we're slowly getting back to the temple. So, Christ, I'm not saying Jesus, I said Christ. So Christ sees what's going on. and he understands how this energy's working and how they're taking it off the people they're lending money to. So he walks into the temple on his own and kicks the shit out of them and throws them out. This is the Sanhedrin, who know all the secrets of the Kabbalah. So what they do then, they take Jesus, they put him on a cross. I'm not going to explain all this fully, but you put someone on a cross. What happens when you fold up a cross? Remember when we were all at school, we used to make shapes out of paper and then make them into boxes and triangles and stuff. What was the shape for a box? It was the cross. So you're talking about boxed awareness, human awareness. And human awareness, all your awareness is down by your feet. And I spoke to Tim about this, and he said, we were talking about Cookie, the vampire dog. And he said, Black Cube, all that stuff, it's all linked. So when Cookie sometimes sleeps down by my feet, and, well, not anymore, but a lot of people, you know, their dogs sleep by their feet. When you go into a cathedral and you see maybe a statue of a saint lying down on top of his coffin, there'll be a little dog lying at the end of his feet. And that's because, and I'm sure I've said this before, that's because the dogs pick up parasites. Alien entities like to possess parasites so they can be inside you. So if you've got more than one parasite in you, you can be possessed multiple times. And dogs have a lot of parasites sometimes. And the entities that like to possess dogs are the Syrians. Why do you think the Sirius is called the Dog Star? It all starts to fall into place. So when the dog sleeps by your feet, that's Syrian entities feeding from your awareness and taking energy back to their star system from here, which to me isn't right. That's not right at all. Really not right. So dogs. Cookie's not like that anymore. She kicks the shit out of aliens. I've actually got a photo. I took Cookie to the beach earlier this year. And yeah, anything to do with 72 is all connected. And she went up on this cliff face and I took a photo, and there's this green bit of lightning in the air going up into the sky. And when you look at the clouds, you see these faces forming in the clouds. And underneath the face is this giant alien head. And when I looked at it and blew it up, go and look up Aleister Crowley and Lamb. It looks like the Lamb entity. And yeah, Cookie had a green line going to it. So Cookie was powering from Lamb, the entity that Aleister Crowley turned to. And I was a bit worried about it. I thought, oh my God, they're coming after Cookie. Is Cookie all right? And I only told him a couple of months ago, and he laughed at me and he said, all those rituals we did against the Sanhedrin while we did the Super Soldier videos and the Unified Magic videos, they were all live rituals, by the way, real world rituals. He said Cookie was at Tim's feet most of the time. She became part of those rituals. So Cookie, yeah, the only real vampire dog in the world, and she kicks ass. She really does. So anyway, right, let's go back to, I thought of a few other things I could have talked about then, but we're still on the Sanhedrin. So, yeah, so Jesus threw these moneylenders out. They put them on a cross. But before they put them on that cross, I just ignore asteroids. I'll tell you why, because I'm being told all the time we're going to get hit by an asteroid and we never do. It's like Nazara. You know, it never happens, does it? It's like Ascension, it never happens, all of that. They're like asteroids. So they didn't just go, oh, let's put him on a cross and torture him and all this. They planned it, and their plan was this. How can we carry on as we are in the future and all our ancestors fuck over the entire Goyim, give them hell with the red line of Abraham, and take the green line, which is the sublime good, which is why there's a small percentage of elite. They've got all the sublime good. You all need to take it back off them, which is why we made the Rothschild money crystal. I hope that's starting to make a bit more sense now. So, hang on, sidetracked, didn't I? So they made a ritual, and it was the scapegoat ritual for Christ. And what that means is, by their ritual, any of their future descendants along the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati can do anything to us, anything they want. And all they get for it is good stuff, the green line. Where does the red line go? Not just on you, the Goyim, it goes on to Christ. That's why you haven't, all the stuff, if that hadn't have happened, then maybe Christ would have come back and something would have come from it, but it can't. And people don't know this because the Sanhedrin are the best people on the planet at keeping secrets. So if you think about it, the top Sanhedrin know that. They taught that to Tim and Colin Bloy. Tim kills Colin Bloy to get out of it all and turn on the Rothschilds. Who's the only person in the world that knows the secrets that's going to tell us about it? It's Tim. There is no one else. There's no one. If they are, I've been calling them for 2 years. Where are you? There's no one that's come forward. So, yeah, everything that they do today, their karma is dumped onto Christ, which is a terrible thing that they did. But that's what they did. And that's how they did it. Yeah, Jimbo, Jesus didn't exist. In the future, we're going to change the past so that Jesus didn't exist, just to prove to you all that we're doing the Mandela effect and we can change the past. But that's a long way down the line. We talked about that in a... if you go for the Unified Magic videos, we covered everything. We covered all of this stuff, you know, but not quite in the way I've just said that bit. So, yeah, that leads you to how they control everything. And now you've got the Sanhedrin and the Crown and the Vatican. So the Crown are there to run England, or the square mile for the Vatican. And why is the square mile so important? Because Xynothopsy, I did ask him about that and he said something I didn't understand, which is why I say we'll talk about it in the future. So, so maybe he doesn't already. I don't know. We'll find out. So you've then got the Crown working for the Vatican, and you've got, and I'm going back to the bones now, the hyperinfinity. So, and the debt system which runs today. And the debt system that runs today, yeah, it takes your money, but it's more than that. It's about the hyperinfinity that's in your bones, which you give off. Your parents put you into that when your birth certificate's signed and all that stuff. They then put you into school, so you're constantly damned, time and time after again. Preschool, primary school, damnation. Secondary school, damnation. Prepared to get a job, damnation. Get a job, damnation. Pay tax, damnation. Oh my God, got a parking fine, got to pay it, damnation. Got to pay it to the local council. The local council in England are run by Tavistock, which is MI4. There's no escape. And this hyperinfinity is leached through the checkerboard system, and this is why the Rothschilds took over the Masonic grid system, because they have the checkerboard in all the Masonic lodges, also the cathedrals. And what I am going to do, I'm going to get Miles to come down to Chichester, and we're going to go into Chichester Cathedral, and we're going to show you some of the maddest shit you'll ever see in a cathedral that explains some of this in front of you in the windows. So this energy is leached. Now, the checkerboard is used to leach other energy. There's death force as well, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But your free will is leached into the square in London, and it's between, I think it's Temple Bar, Gray's Inn, another inn, and the Middle Temple. And I've been up there and had a look at these buildings, and Middle Temple, it's just a building with offices in, but it used to be something else. And it doesn't matter who's using it as what or what's there, it's what you can't see. And when you join up this square, the square mile, you can study the ley lines and see how it's transferred to Italy. And all your hyperinfinity is transferred to outside the Vatican, where St. Peter's obelisk is. There's another obelisk, and Tim's talked about this recently. This round tower. And I went there to have a look myself. I saw the Pope and everything. Went there, had a look at all this. It's mental. And that is a triangle. That's the triangle of art. Triangle of art is used by the Templars. It's a tetragrammaton. which is Jehovah, which is chaos evil. Now, these people using all these occult systems, most of them may think they're good, but they're using chaos evil, whether they know it or not. And this triangle of art takes all your hyper-infinity, transfer it through the Pope, and Tim told me the Pope. I said, who is the Pope? Who's inside the Pope? I said, I know who's in the Rothschilds, but who's inside the Pope? I only learnt this year, and he told me Yalda Bayoff, and I'm going, ugh. Yalda Bayoff created evil chaos, corrupt source, and I'm going, oh my God, that would make total sense. So where do they transfer this hyper-infinity? They transfer it to the satanic triangle of art in the star system, and the satanic triangle of art is from the Pleiades to the Cross to Orion. Now, I can't tell you anything beyond that because I haven't had a chance to sit down with Tim and get him to explain all that to me. But I think once I learn that and start talking about it, and we can get out there, we can start to understand why it's not just supernatural spirits that are stealing energy from us, it's also the aliens. And I think I spoke about that last time, didn't I? You know, they haven't... I felt let down by all the channelings and the aliens because I read these channelings thinking I knew something about this world. When I go and read the channelings now, there's nothing in those channelings that they're actually giving to you that give you any power to make a real world difference. You know, Tim, look at what Tim's given us. He's given us the mathematics, he's given us the mathematics of C-space. You go, oh, C-space, what's that? Well, we all know that, the love-hate human thing, exactly. So you've got our 3D realm that we can see around us. We call this the real world, and they want your awareness, they do. I can't look at too many questions, I forget what I'm talking about. So we've got C-space. Well, what is C-space? Well, if you study, there's a name to this, I can't remember what it is. I studied it years ago, but it's how dimensions can exist in the same space. And it comes, what channelings? All of them. It comes down to spin ratio of fractions. So on like the water molecule has a certain fraction on its spin ratio. Well, everything does, and it's governed by a set rule of parameters. Well, when you go to a different dimension, the parameters just change and the fraction ratios change, and then they change and they change and they change. Yet everything in that change can exist within everything else, but it doesn't always affect it. You're on the edge of some things, as we know from this reality and how it's been fucked with. And they do. They repeat everything. Nazara, ascension. Where is it? Where's your power? Where's your real power? So, I've just forgotten what I was talking about again. See, this is what happens. You know, well, I remember above me, I've got all this stuff going, I could go that way or that way. I could talk about this or that, or this is part of it. But
well, I remember
there's just so much stuff. But I think we might have to go back up a bit and find some of these questions because I've only answered 2 questions.
Well, while I do that...
So, go on, Ashlyn. C-space.
Okay, good.
I want to talk about this. Sorry, Mars. I want to talk about
Go ahead.
See, this is why I like doing this, because you lot can remind me when I forget. So C-space is one of these spaces. It's not another dimension. It's a space within a realm, within a dimension. And this is what Tim's trying to get across to us. But Tim is at such a high advanced level in physics of all this that he says it in a way that I have to try and work it out and then talk about it with him again, and he tells me if I'm right or wrong, and then I can talk about it.
He's a very good teacher.
Yeah. So C-space, we call that complex number space. And when the Sanhedrin, I love you too, when the Sanhedrin created this money system of debt, they used C-space. So what did money become? It became complex number energy. You need to manifest your creations, your good creations that stick to the world and benefit you. You need C-space. You need complex number energy. So what's money? Yeah, I'll get some out. It doesn't matter who made it or what it's really about or that it's got pyramids on it or anything like that. That is complex number energy. We've all got it. And it's a transfer. So it's not just a bit of paper in debt. There's an energy there. And you can put this energy into your creations to help them manifest. And the Sanhedrin knew this, so they created a debt system so they could take power from everyone through money, give them more power. Then they learned something else, and I've gone back to something I really wanted to talk about, and that's Higgs field and death force. And this is my favourite one. I love this.
Hadron Collider?
No, I don't talk about that, but I will say the Hadron Collider. Go and look at a picture of the Hadron Collider cut in half, and then go and look at Chartres Cathedral and the big glass window and match them up together. They're virtually identical. It tells you something about cathedrals and how cathedrals work. So our magic kits are small cathedrals, basically. I've sidetracked. I'm going to find it again. C-space, complex, Higgs field. So, how else can that energy be created? Complex number. I don't know. So Higgs field, you're naturally born with Higgs field. The moment you're born, you have no energy field because you're protected by your mother's energy fields. You have a gap. We're going back. Yeah, it is a psyop, it's ascension. So you've got a gap here. Inside here is called the rolling force. When you're born, you come out of your mother, you're still connected to the umbilical cord. Anunnaki Hathor, Anunnaki, no, forget that. Right, so snip the umbilical cord, the rolling force at that precise moment pushes your energy fields out from inside you and rolls them around your body. That's your star sign. That's the moment of your star sign, not when you actually popped out. So if you pop out and the doctor writes down, oh, he came out at 7:30 in the morning and they didn't cut your umbilical cord till 7:31, he's written down the wrong time. So when that happens, your soul's there. It's outside of you now. Well, you need, and I think of this like the lungs. When you breathe, your lungs are moving around inside you. And they rub. You don't want them rubbing against certain bits. So what we had created was a layer, a membrane. We've got a membrane between our physical body and our soul. And that's called the Higgs field, which is also the death force. And what the Sanhedrin were taught by the beings, and I just want to say, by the way, any occultists watching this, Aleister Crowley wrote all his books by channeling an alien. Kenneth Grant wrote all his occult books by channeling spiders. It's true, but it sounds mad, like everything else does. So, if you can collect Higgs field from humans, you know what you want to manifest and create, but it doesn't always work. You need probability. Improve your chances of probability. What if you could find a way to get 100% probability that everything you built in your life was successful and worked and became abundant and sublime good? You need Higgs field to put into that. Higgs field gives you 100% probability. Now, you've got it anyway, but to make it work like that, you have to collect it. So they start wars. And they started wars from the west taking over the east. Now we're going to go back to the different realms on the Argand diagram. You've got complex number space pointing west. Over in the east, you've got hell space. Hell space, I've got to start looking at the questions. Hell space is to erase from reality, so demanifestation is to the east. And adding to reality, to the real world in the north, is facing to the west. So the west, where do we go to invade other countries to take away from them? We go to the east. We destroy their country. We destroy the people. We take all the energy away from them. And what do they become? They become a Westerner. And that land now becomes Sanhedrin West territory, which is Western Sorry. I've just forgotten what that means now. That's a bit stupid, isn't it? Sorry. Western evil satanic territory. That's where we live now, the West. So that's hell space and sea space. And if you take things away in hell space, it gives you energy. There's a lot more to this. I'm not going to go into it too much. But they collect this by the Rothschilds hijack the Masonic grid. So every Masonic temple is a copy of Solomon's temple. Every time a Mason walks through those pillars, whether they be over the door or in the temple, they have a demon possess them. Every time. And the checkerboard in the Masonic Hall processes death force for the Sanhedrin Illuminati, puts it into the local cathedral, where it's then sent into the square mile as well. And if you get parish churches, well, the parish churches are set up to collect the death force to feed into the cathedral. So it's a system. You want to know why the Sanhedrin have had all this power for so long and no one's been able to topple them yet? Because they kept the secret of death force to themselves. So everything they did, no matter how evil or bad for the rest of the world, was 100% successful for them. That's the cherry on the cake. I can't really say.
Well, that's a fair.
What else can I say about that?
That's a fair call.
And if you want to learn the science of sea space, hell space, psi space in the south, the realm of the man and the soul, or the real world number space, which is what all this is, everything around you in the north, then go and look at the Super Soldier playlist I've got, where Tim goes through some of it, and the anti-aging playlist. And also we did the physics of psychic warfare with Miles, which was an incredible series of videos that I really don't think enough people have watched.
Good fun.
Because Tim goes through the science of a lot of it. And everything he does there to demonstrate, he's not just demonstrating, he's doing it. He's really doing the real stuff to those people in those videos. It's real. And he did it so that in the future, when that stuff happens to them, and it happens the way he said it was going to happen, he can say, look, you all want proof, you have to wait for it, and it will come, and this is what comes of it. And it's an incredible series of videos. And, you know, a lot of people say to me, but you understand all this stuff. And no, I don't understand all of it. I understand a lot of it because of what I did with Mary and what she taught me. So Mary took me to that level where you think you've got the last veil of the illusion. You think you've got everything. You're going to save the world. Everything's going to be good. But you fall flat on your face every time. Nothing happens. And all Tim did was came along and said, here's one more veil. I'll just take it off for you. There it is. Get your head round it. So when Tim teaches me something, I go onto the internet and for example, supernaturalspirit.com, all the secrets of the Sanhedrin Illuminati there, the Abraham rituals there, Tim wrote it out better than I could ever explain it to you. All these rituals he's written there. You have to dig deep into the website and find Illuminati secrets and read them all. It'll blow your mind. And I sidetracked. I've forgotten what I was going to say anyway. What did I say just before the website, Miles? Do you know?
Ooh, I'm not sure, but do you want to?
Someone might remind me.
Yeah. You did a series on Max Spears. There's a couple of people mentioned Max Spears. It's 4 years at least since his passing.
Let's just talk about what people want to know now.
Okay.
It says, it's a year to the day that he cursed those people in the park and the British public. It's funny because I didn't realise that was a year ago today. I was telling someone about that earlier. I guess you're talking about the MI5 agents. And that's an incredible video to watch. And I think the one after it, because when Tim opens and Max, when Tim opens the Stargate in the churchyard, and he says, right, we're going to command the demons. And that's what this technology does. Instead of them beating the shit out of you, you beat the shit out of them. And if they don't do what you want, they go to prison. That's it. There's no other option for these people, these entities in the future. They have to supply you with power. You know, it's going to change. It's not this loose system is going to change, and humans are going to run it. You know, this is our world. Aliens want to come here and take from us. No, fuck off. What are you doing? But when Tim mentions the demons, watch the dogs in the park. I think you watched me pan the camera around. All the dogs turn around and point towards the Stargate. And when he unleashes the demons, they all start barking. And there's a 2-hour one we did, and he keeps doing it. And every time he says, every time he mentions demon dogs, listen to them all barking in the background. Yeah, robots will run it. We know that, but who's going to run the robots? You know, do you
Ada, AI?
AI, yeah. Who's going to run the AI? Oh, Tim is. Because a lot of people think robots are bad for doing the work, but you're doing the work as a wage slave by the Elohim. The Elohim created the wage slave system. You know, they're behind the Matrix as well. All the stuff that puts you in a prison, they created that. So people say, oh, they're going to put robots in and take away our jobs. And I hear people saying that, and I go, yeah, but you're begging to be a wage slave. You're begging to be in debt. You're begging to be damned over and over again and pay tax to the crown that's uploading your hyper infinity to the satanic triangle of art in the star systems. Hang on a minute. You don't want to go to work from 9 till 5. Yes, you need money. You know, the way I see it in the future, all the jobs for creating things that we need to get by in that, you get robots to do it, you know, and have a different system where people can do what they want to do and enjoy life. You know, I'm quite lucky. I don't have to work in the daytime because I've got a farm. So it is work, but it's not like work for me. And I just think, oh, if I had to go back and work in a factory, I'd want to top myself. What is that? Because you're going to work 40 hours a week. Add up those hours from when you left school to when you die and look at how much of your life you've just given to the Sanhedrin Illuminati. Yeah, and I know some of you are going to love your jobs and they're brilliant and all this, but you're still giving into that system. And all we want to do is take that system apart and destroy it from the top down. And we come across in a, I don't know, sometimes a nasty sort of way and a brutal sort of way. And Tim does talk to you all very brutal, but the older videos where he's cussing, swearing, all this stuff, yeah, and it seems to offend a lot of people. And I say to them, yeah, he's not talking to you, he's talking to the Rothschilds. He's telling them what he's going to do to them, you know. And in the meantime, you know, the people that do wake up, read between the lines of what Tim says, because, you know, I'll put my neck on the line and I will tell you this now. No one will come forward with any type of technology that will make a difference to your life, where you can live hundreds of years old, you can learn the secrets of Illuminism, which isn't necessarily being Illuminati like them. You know, we want every person on the planet to become an Illuminati, because all that means is, whoa, you've actually learned how creation works and how it works in a 3D reality, that you can do everything I've just described, you know? And you don't need to go to the 5th dimension and leave your body and give up this body. Our technology allows you to experience all dimensions and be aware of it. And the reason you can't always do that, some people can, but most people, is because what I was saying earlier about the Zion parasite. It's more than that. It's worse. Tim's told me things. I'm not even going to repeat them yet because I don't even know how to say it. But I said to him, this whole thing with the David Icke Matrix, how does that work? Now, we've explained the Matrix before because, oh yeah, Kosalouch, fuck that. I had to fuck him off on Facebook. It's madness. Tim had a look, he couldn't stop laughing. So, and I've just done it again. I forgot what I was going to say to you. Like, can someone just remind me of what I just said, please? Hang on. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. No. Zion. It just seemed like Cosmic Gypsy is AI. I need to get back on track of what I was just saying. My hair keeps falling out. Yeah, if I wasn't bald, I'd shave it anyway. I've always shaved my head. That's it. Thank you. That reminded me. The Zion, David Icke. Yeah. So, right, the David Icke Matrix. I studied David Icke for a very, very, very long time. But how do you understand something like that when you don't have an understanding of other realities and realms and spaces? So I've told you how spaces can exist within each other. So the actual matrix itself was set up via Queen Elizabeth I. So you've got Dr. John Dee, had an assistant called Edward Kelly. Now, John Dee became the first 007. Edward was his assistant because Edward was like Tim, or Tim was like Edward, can see everything. So the Spanish Armada were going to invade, and what Queen Elizabeth I did a ritual with Dr. Dee to create a torsion field over the sea. Now, torsion fields are everywhere. Most people look at them on television every day when you look at the weather. High pressure area, low pressure area is a counterclockwise torsion field and a clockwise torsion field. Everyone knows about this stuff, but we don't know what it means in a way. So they created this storm which sunk the Spanish Armada. Now, if they'd have invaded England, who knows what would have happened? But they did that, and when they did that, they used the Enochian angels, and this is the Elohim, and this is why I turned on the Elohim when I found this out. They created and started anchoring in this matrix realm. So you could imagine a matrix grid over the whole of the West, starting from England, and it affects everyone like an infection, and it ties you into becoming a wage slave. And then you get the Archons coming in, and what they do to anchor it, they anchored it into Masonic lodges and skyscrapers. So skyscrapers, you look at the measurements, they're all to do with the Fibonacci series, and they're governed by Archons and mostly the Council of Nine. Yeah, the Council of Nine from channeling, same people, entities. They're the ones that got a lot of these buildings built in England, and they anchor this matrix. And what this matrix does, it means that when you're born, you're damned into the system and so on, and everything I explained earlier about the wage slave and all that stuff. But the worst bit, and it really got me, I said to Tim, you know, people talk about hell on earth and where is hell, where's this? He said, well, there isn't another realm such as hell, but there's other realms you can do to put beings in to torture them. And Tim learnt that from the way that the Elohim had done it to us. So, you know, like the middle place, and I've spoke about it before. Well, what happens is when you're born and this umbilical cord's cut, oh yeah, I forgot to finish that one off. When the umbilical cord's cut, that's your moment of birth. This insectile comes down from the Archon, puts a parasite into the back of your head, which is a baby larva, dark entity, matter thing, whatever. And you start to trust this thing. When you're a baby, it gives you dreams, all sorts of things, and it becomes your inner voice. And you start listening to it, but it also becomes very annoying because it can make you depressed, suicidal. There's a lot of negative aspects to this voice. And then as you grow up, oh yeah, you've got a reptilian brain, that's your monkey brain, it's your monkey voice. Oh, you've got to learn to overcome it and all this stuff. Oh, okay, I'll do that, I'll be a better person. Well, when I got my vampire technology off Tim, and there's other technology that takes this out, not just the vampire stuff, there's other stuff on Supernatural. A year and a half later, I woke up one day and everything was really quiet. Well, I mean really quiet. And I'm thinking, and I'm going, whoa, there's no argument, there's no this, there's no that. And what my crystals had done, the torsion fields, and Tim's torsion fields build over time once you've got them. So imagine a graph. I'll do it from that side. So you've got a line that curves up. Tim's technology starts to curve up as it collects power. It can never come down. Curves up, curves up, curves up, curves up, curves up until it reaches a straight line. Once it reaches a straight line, you've got it. It's there. It's working for you. It's doing everything it says on the tin. But you need to get there, you know, and you'll have experiences that lead you to it. But once you get there, that's some huge amount of power. So I'm just watching Marv crawl up the stairs. It looks quite funny. So, hang on, that put me off, didn't it? Oh, so this parasite. Yeah, so that's where the voice comes from. And if someone says to you, go within and listen to that voice, if you go within and listen to that voice and act on it, you're acting on chaos. You really are. And yeah, a year and a half later, it just left me. And it was such a difference. Yeah, Elohim is another name for God. So what I'm saying is, Yaldabaoth created Jehovah, and from the Jehovah comes the Elohim, and then all the demons. So there's a link. There's an upline, you know, like a pyramid scheme. That's how it works. And I always thought the Elohim were the good guys, and they're not. They're not. They really aren't. They really aren't. You know. And I'm talking about that not just from what Tim told me, but you know, my ancestors were possessed by the Elohim. Ra is linked to all that, you know, and yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. So these parasites, you need to deal with them all. You really do. And once they're gone, they're gone. Now Annie, I'll talk about Annie and what happened to her, because my voice went, but she's, who did he say created Yahweh? Yeah, Yaldabaoth. Are you vamping all the viewers right now? No, I don't do that, because I've got nothing against you. I might be vamping some of the parasites that are attached to some of you, but that's a different thing. That's actually doing you all a favour. Tim does that. When Tim walks around the streets, yeah, people think, oh, he's attacking everyone. No. He's taking all the parasites off you. Not the Zion one, he won't do that. All the ones that jump out of the fountains, he's killing them as he's walking around. Watch in some of the videos in the churchyard, when students walk past, watch his hands. He's got all those rings on. Watch him do that. He'll suddenly do that. He's just done that. He's just annihilated maybe 5 parasites in one go. But he won't tell you that's what he's doing. He won't, you know, doesn't want to come across as the nice guy. So, yeah, the parasites. But Annie, you know, we do a chakra rescue service, and it's a lot of money. And I'm not trying to sell to you, you know, we don't care if we sell anything or not, you know, we're just informing you. So Tim does a chakra rescue service for anyone that has done, and a lot of you are going to argue with me about this, Kundalini awakening. I never did it. My future self kept telling me all those years, don't do it. And I always felt like a hypocrite. Yeah, there is one Yahweh. So, but the one above it, Yaldabaoth, is a two-faced, schizophrenic, chaos, corrupted source. And that's what we're dealing with. That's who we fight against, Tim and I. That's who we're taking out. My personal battle is Jehovah. I'm warring against that entity every day. So Annie paid Tim a lot of money to do this. It's not cheap if you've had a Kundalini awakening. And I said to Tim, why do you charge so much money? He said to me, do you know how much energy it takes me to burn out someone's 7 chakras and pull out a locked-in parasite that's almost the size of a person? He says it's a huge amount of energy. And as that person's still linked to chaos, Tim said, if I help you do that, I'm helping chaos. So then Tim becomes damned. So it's a funny one to start getting your head around on why you can only do certain things and not other things without getting damned. And it's in a video, it's on YouTube, it's called Chakra Rescue. It's on my YouTube channel, just put it into Google. And watch very carefully just watch his facial expressions when he's doing it. So he stands in front of Annie, and he's looking at this entity thing, and he goes through and he's burning out these chakras with his negative torsion field. Yeah, it was an abortion. And he grabs the top of her head like that, this thing, and he's going like that, and he starts pulling. And he lets go. And he looks, and he goes, and he does it again. And he has to pull it again. And he pulls it, and pulls it, and pulls it. No, and then he goes up again, and he pulls it like that. And watch him flick his arm. He just killed it. And I've got to say, Annie had a lot of problems before that. She said to me, I feel so different. And yeah, it's not always easy to think the right things and stay positive 100% of the time. But once that thing's gone from you, God, I'll tell you what, life's completely different. It feels different, you know, nothing's a worry anymore, even when things go wrong. And you know what, when things go wrong for me, yeah, and I want to share this with all you, because I'm sure, all of you, because I'm sure you've all been there. when something goes wrong for you and it's like it's the end of the world, oh, I've lost everything, or this has happened to me, oh my God, and you're freaking out, you know, what am I going to do? Wow, what am I going to do? And then you go 6 months down the line, you look back on the past and you laugh about it. So I'll tell you something now. Next time your life falls apart, stop and remember me telling you this and say, no, don't freak out, because in 6 months' time, I'm going to look back on this and laugh and remind yourself that you've already done it. Start doing that, and you'll change your mindset anyway when it comes to worrying about things like that. Is Satan different from Lucifer? Yeah, Lucifer's the hidden part of evil that evil can't see. So Lucifer, you could say, Lucifer is the hidden part of Satan that Satan can't see. And Lucifer is what Tim calls the rat catcher. So Lucifer's there to destroy chaos. But that's another ball game. I can explain that somewhat, but Tim's really good at explaining that because Tim knows Lucifer and Tim did that deal with him. And the deal with Lucifer, it was a bet. Tim bet Lucifer that he could poison Eve, who is Katy Perry, and Lucifer's turned around and said, no, I'm the only one that can do that. No man on earth can do that. And Tim said, well, let's have a bet. If I do it, I want everything you've got. Lucifer's going, well, I've never lost a bet in my life. So anyway, we went down this road and Tim won the bet. And Tim now holds the door to Hellspace. And I'm going to go back to Hellspace because, yeah, in a way the Luciferians are correct, but I don't really understand it. It's a weird one. So, that just threw me then. Katy Perry. What was I going to say about Katy Perry? I forgot what I was going to say about Katy Perry.
Well, what about all these A-listers anyway? I mean, what's the big deal there?
Right, so you want, yeah, he did win the bet, yeah. So he won the bet. A-listers, selling your soul. So when you sell your soul, you, yeah, Hellspace. Let's talk about Hellspace. So when an A-lister or a Hollywood person or someone in the pop industry, and by the way, this is why I got out of the music industry, because I got pretty close to the top of it. And it's not a good place to be. That's all I'm going to say. It's not a good place to be.
Why is it not a good place to be, Duncan? I mean, what was the issue there that you didn't like? If you're not with them, they want to do you in, mate. And I would never have done that. I never would have sold my soul for what I wanted, you know. And it got to the point where, because I didn't want to do that, I started having a lot of things go wrong in my company. And it's funny because I used to work for Sony, BMG, and I cut a lot of their records. I did, the biggest record I ever worked on was, of all the people, R. Kelly Ignition. That went through my studio and it sold 9 million copies. But when I got to that level, I was sending master plates off to be pressed. You were doing the actual cutting of
we were doing
the
the Sony factory were wrecking our records and they were getting sent back to us. So I started losing work. And you start getting into that realm of, okay, we might have to shoot him to get rid of him and stuff like that. It's very cutthroat. It's horrible. It's very nasty.
You were doing too good a job, or was there something missing?
If you want to do a deal to have access to Hellspace, Lucifer wants your soul because he's letting you use his realm and you're using energy. Well, why should he give that away to you? What? You know, everyone expects something for nothing, but nothing works like that. Why should he give that away to you? So he says, you give me your soul, which is an infinite amount of power, I will let you into Hellspace, you become rich and famous, and you'll have all the money in the world and all this. But when you die, you're fucked. You're really fucked. Seriously fucked. So how's taking away? What's he taking away then? He's given to me. No. The person who's famous takes away from the audience. So a lot of famous people are idolised, so they're giving away energy to that person, like Katy Perry or whatever. But also by money. They go and buy your records, by the millions. They're making you rich. That's how it works. It all works like that. It's all a transference of money and energy. So what power are they giving you? Let's go back to the beginning, all the way back to the beginning. Whoa, I did a contract, I've sold my soul, look at how much complex number energy I got for it. Fucking awesome. But then I'm dead. Oh, fuck, I'm dead. Oh, I'm fucked. Not so good.
What exactly does that mean, now you're dead?
I'm not saying. I'm not telling any of the A-listers what happens to them when they're dead. Not yet, anyway. I will, but not yet. No, it's bad. It's really bad. It needs to become more public and well known, and they'll all turn to Tim for rescue. And what are they going to ask Tim for? Can I have my soul back? And Tim will go, I'll give you your soul back, but I want every penny you've got. Every penny, or I don't care, because there's a lot of power in your soul, and you're the one that gave it up. That was your choice. It's a fair deal. So yeah, be careful who you do a deal with. You know, am I saying this is hell? Right. I'm glad, Georgia, you've asked that, because I mentioned the middle place. So when you're born and they do all this parasite stuff to you, you're pinned. So your soul, this is why I'm talking about different realms existing in the same place. You can have your physical body, you've then got your Higgs field, you've then got your soul and all, you know, your other energy, your emotional field, all the other bodies, whatever, and your soul. And it's here, and you can go and have your photo taken and we can see your soul, and you go, well, no, my soul's here. It's not away from me. No, it's not away from you, but it is, because it's locked into a separate realm that exists within our reality. And this is what they created. You know, the Matrix is this part of it. Your soul is in a 12-eon psi prison, and there's 12 levels to it. And I don't know all this off by heart, but I nearly printed it off. It's on my Facebook page. It's all written out. And each part of the psi prison, headache's gone. Have some of that. I'm going to want to do in all your parasites.
Trump?
Hey?
Trump, they're asking about Trump several times.
Oh, yeah, I'll come back to Trump. So, basically, all your souls are pinned into this middle place, and there's a 12-aeon psi prison matrix that you're not naturally aware of. And the 12 levels are, I can remember one of them, homeless people. All homeless people that are like that and really suffer. They that's part of the prison. And I've been through it myself, and it's affected me throughout my whole life. And if you read the list, I guarantee every single one of you can relate to misery in your life that has come from your souls being trapped in this psi prison. Tim's listed it. It's all in supernaturalspirit.com. And he lists it, and it's just mind-blowing how it affects your life. And so Tim's Soul Spirit Rescue, when you buy it, people say, well, how can Tim take my soul from somewhere? How does he know I've bought it? Because we give you a certificate with a torsion field in, it's signed by Tim, and we write your name on it. So that torsion field finds you. There's only one of you in existence, it finds you, and it connects to your assemblage point. We then put crystals with it. The torsion field comes out of the certificate, and it programs the crystals to you, and they connect to you. Yeah, anyway, going into that. So we don't have souls. Yeah, some of you don't. In fact, a lot of you don't. But you can get them back. And Tim can rebuild souls. He can. I watched him rebuild Annie's awareness. When he did that chakra rescue from Annie, Annie had been all around the world on retreats, and she'd done a lot of awakenings. And Tim looked at me and he said, the reason Annie's struggling is because her awareness is nearly gone. The parasite's almost eaten it. When the parasite eats your awareness, it puts your awareness in its place. But you don't know. You don't know it's not there because you still think you're the same thing. And on camera, and it's on my YouTube, Chakra Rescue, he stands there and he says to Annie, your awareness is pretty fucked. Do you want me to build you a new one? And he does this. He goes, yeah, and he installs it into her. And I stood there and I went, oh, I bet Jesus couldn't even do that. And it was one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever actually witnessed. Right, I'm sorry I haven't answered all your questions. I've still only answered 2 or 3 questions, really. But Trump, all this stuff I've just said is what I wanted to tell you all anyway, in this way I've just said it. But Trump, yeah, we got Trump into power. Why? Look at the other options there were at the time. Hillary Clinton. what happens if Hillary gets in? Our job gets harder. Put someone like Trump in, he's easier to remote influence, and he's funny. He's upset a lot of people. We find that funny. That amuses us. And that's the bottom line of it. We like him in that way. We think he's funny. And, yeah, our next plan, you know, it was going to be Trump again. But then we thought, what if we remote influenced everyone to get Biden in on a global scale as a world stage ritual? Let's get Biden in. Yeah, he's a fucktard. He's one of the biggest fucktards out of all of them. But think about this. Trump's in, yeah, he's fighting against everything. You get someone like Biden in, his head's fucked anyway. He's going to make a lot of mistakes verbally. Everyone knows he's a dirty child molester. So if he gets in, how many of you are going to start talking about him being a pedo? And we might get the same thing that happened to Epstein. And you've got to think of the long road here.
Yeah, the long road is the vice president, though. Who they choose for vice president.
I don't know anything about that. But so, yeah, Biden. What would Biden do? Biden, support Zion. Put him in the White House. Because he's a fucktard, he'll destroy Zion from the inside out. That's our way of thinking. So, yeah, we're thinking of Biden. I've spoke about it with Tim, but we'll see. We'll see what he decides. It's down to Tim. It always is. And while I'm saying that...
I mean, it's as much as how he's going to survive physically.
Yeah, and it's, you know, things like that are down to Tim because that's a zero-sum game. It can either be this one or that one. And it's the same, you know, Tim controls world sport. So the finals of everything, the final of the World Cup, it's either this country or that country. Now, that's a zero-sum game. One person takes it all, one person loses it all. What's the one they love in America? American rugby.
American football.
American football. American football is exactly the same. Easy to remote influence. The Super Bowl. That's it. Tim controls the Super Bowl every year. It's the one thing he won't tell me. He won't tell me he's going to win it. And at the last World Cup, Tim controlled all of it. Notice England never wins anything because Tim takes away from the English team so they can never get past the semi-finals. He's done that for a long time. So what happened in the last final? France won, didn't they? Well, hang on a minute.
I haven't a clue.
The country it was in was France, and France won it. Why would Tim allow that to happen? Because France went to war with Vietnam. America went to war with Vietnam. Australia went to war with Vietnam. Tim's paying back the karma from what they did to Vietnamese. You know, they used to put people in cages, set them on fire. They tortured people in Vietnam, innocent people. True, non-Western, non-parasited, innocent people being hellised by the West, and they lost. Vietnam stood up to the Western evil satanic Wrath Sanhedrin and won. Yeah, it fucked their country up. It fucked them up. But why do you think Tim's living in Vietnam, right at the bottom where the ley line ends, with all abundance there? It's a lovely place. I went to see him. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So yeah, this was Tim's plan. France won the World Cup. Imagine all the energy everyone in France gives off when they realise France have won. Release all that energy. Now, usually it'd be collected by the Rothschilds, like in any sports stadiums. They're all psychotronic generators collecting energy. Every football match, all of them. Concerts, everything. Psychotronic. So Tim allows France to win, and all that euphoria is given off. Now, instead of going to the Rothschilds, Tim channeled it all to himself, and he created a torsion-filled hell engine. And we placed the torsion-filled hell engine inside Notre Dame Cathedral. Now, you place the hell engine inside it, and you set it to do one task, and that is to destroy anyone in France uplining energy to the Rothschilds, which is basically everyone. And then Notre Dame catches fire, and you know, yeah, a lot of observers. So I tell some of my friends, oh yeah, Tim burnt down Notre Dame Cathedral, and they go, no, builders started it. And I'm going,
Yeah, but the mosque in Israel went
that's
as
not
well.
the point. Yeah, the mosque went up in Israel. That was the cherry on the cake. Now, the only reason I can explain how Tim's magic works on that level is to relate it to some movies some of you may have seen, and they're called Final Destination. So, imagine all the characters in Final Destination are Chaos Evil, and the Death Shadow coming around is Tim's magic, trying to get them all. That's how it works. So you do something, usually up to 6 months down the line, you see, if it's a world stage, it usually takes about 6 months, sometimes longer, for anything to actually happen. The way we are in reality compared to the future, like someone said to me yesterday, oh, if you're a super soldier, show me a six-pack by tomorrow. What? What? Show me a six-pack by tomorrow. We're not there yet. We haven't collected enough energy. There's so much chaos around that magic doesn't work that fast yet. As there are more magicians learning Illuminism, then further down the line, more people, more energy, putting chaos in prison. The chaos that goes into prison then feeds our magic for the future, where we can build the golden age. Things will happen faster in the future, but you know, and someone said to me, oh, if you're who you say you are, grow your hair back. Hang on a minute. Do you know how much energy it would take for me to grow my hair back? I've got other things to put my energy into, like developing my farm, doing the car business.
It certainly won't grow my hair back.
Yeah, you know, other things. I smashed my ankle up when a kid. I've been putting energy into that. My knees, things that have bothered me my whole life. Something like hair, it's just what I look like. I don't give a shit what I look like. I don't even look in the mirror anymore. I don't know. Who cares? It's just me. So if I grew a whole set of hair just to appease the people that want me to prove I can do it, I'd shave it off the next day because I like being bald. And I wouldn't do it anyway. And Tim won't do it. He won't do it for years. But it's like when we filmed the anti-aging videos last year. Look at Tim before the anti-aging videos and then afterwards. Tim produced all this anti-aging technology, didn't even use it himself. And then he kept saying to him, he's like, why aren't you using it? We asked him, and he said, well, I need motivation. He said, usually, when someone threatens to kill me or something, that's my motivation. I'll do something about it. And I know what he means, you know. People around me have tried to fuck me up, and it does. It causes you're motivated. Be fucked over by this person, or get up your ass and do something about it, and something good comes of it. So, yeah, hair and energy. It takes a lot of energy to do things. Now, while we were doing the anti-aging videos, Tim's doing that thing where he's helping Miley Cyrus out and he's putting energy into her. And he did something with his crystal and he pulls his T-shirt up and he puts it in his gap. And was it health and something? And none of you saw this because we stopped recording, but Annie grabbed me after we filmed that one and she said, look at Tim. Now, you know, Tim used to have quite a stoop. That's because he had a rubbish bed. He used to sleep funny. But after that video, he started getting a lot straighter. And it was like, we kept saying on the way home, I swear he just grew 2 inches after he did that with the crystal. And Tim can do that because he has immense amount of power inside him. And like when Tim says, I'm addicted to it, he says, yeah, that's true. He is. He's addicted to collecting the power. And the more power he's got, the more he can take out all this chaos evil. So if he takes all that power, do you know what? Someone doesn't believe what I'm saying. They want me to have hair. Oh, I'll use a big chunk of it to have hair. The next day, oh, there you go, I've got hair. What's that going to change? You'll all go, oh, he's had hair implants. Oh, he's wearing a wig. You know, there's never enough. There's never enough. So we do real world magic rituals and say, wait a year, wait 6 months. And when people say to me about the anti-aging, I tell them to wait 10 years. I don't care. I've got it. I don't care if anyone else has it or not. Wait 20 years. I'll tell you what, why don't you wait 50 years? See you still alive. See if I look the same as I do now. So my challenge, or my thing that I'm saying is, I'm not going to get any older than this. You know? What else can I say? And I will say, go and look at Tim's new videos. Look at his skin. Oh my God, have a look at... Tim is 63 years old. He's knocking on 70. Look at his skin on his arms and everything. He's got no wrinkles. No, I smoke. I love smoking. So, yeah, I've got these small wrinkles on my hands and I'm in the sun a lot. Tim lives in the sun. It doesn't affect him, you know? It adds to him and doesn't take away. It's incredible. It's incredible. So, yeah, that's why we don't prove things like that to people, because you can't yet, you know? I could say, oh, yeah, I'm going to grow my hair back, but it'll take me a year, you know, and I've got to constantly work on it. Well, I'd rather do something else. Yeah, Tim said he's going to kill the Rothschilds. Yeah, he is. Go and watch the first Super Soldier video. We did the first one. It's done. It's all in there. Everything we did in the video was real. Who we did it to was real. And when they left this planet was real. That was all very real. And you say, well, OK, you're going to do this. Why haven't you done it yet? We have to chip away. You can have a certain amount of energy and you can put it into taking someone out. But when you go after someone that has a bloodline that runs all the way back through the Sanhedrin, or is the Sanhedrin, back through the moneylenders, back to Solomon, how much energy do you think they've actually got that we have to take down and take away from them? So, yeah, it's difficult. It's not an easy job. And we set ourselves a 10-year target for that, and we've been a year into it. So, yeah. 10 years. See if they're all here in 10 years. And I will tell you this, they've all blocked me on Facebook.
Oh, dear.
I used to be friends with a lot of the Rothschild children. Two of them still haven't blocked me. They probably haven't realised. But I was friends with Mayor Hal Rockefeller because I'm related to him distantly. As soon as he found out
and I
what
think
I was
James's has a something like connection there.
Yes. As soon as he found out what I was doing with Tim, hard-walled me from his life. Hard-walled me. Can't you go back in time to remove? Not got enough energy to do that, you know? And at the end of the day, right, here's the other thing. If we go back and remove them, they wouldn't have created the grid system for us to take over and change. So, yeah, they fucked us all over. But why don't we use what they've done to us, take it, change it, use it against them and all the supernatural spirits and make our world better and human lives better?
What about the
That's the way I
the
see it
spiders?
anyway. That's just my opinion, huh?
The spiders.
The spiders.
You mentioned spiders earlier.
Spiders of Set.
Yeah.
And I just want to answer this. I will come back to that. Where's James Casbolt? We don't know, but Tim did tell me something about Tim, and I'm going to tell you all. He, some of you saw that picture that James drew when he was in prison of the face with all the teeth on it, and I showed it to Tim. He kept hold of it for a week, and he sat me down and pulled me to one side. He said, "Look," and he said, "I know he's your friend, but they've put attachments all over him. What's the other word for it? Implants.
Implants. Yeah.
But it was all demonic entities." He said he's pretty fucked. So yeah, I don't know where James is. James, if you're there, send one of us a message, mate, because I'm starting to think you're dead, mate.
Yeah, I think it's almost a
Seriously.
year
I'm starting
coming
to think
up.
you're dead, mate.
It's
Get
a year
in touch,
coming up.
Do something. Even if you don't agree with what we're
He
doing.
was released about a
you
year
know,
ago
even
into
if you want to be my
custody.
mortal enemy, I don't care. Just get in touch, mate. Say hello, whatever, you know. It's got to be something.
What about Sohail?
No, you asked me something just now, and I said was it James or something else? Spiders.
Spiders of
These
Set,
spiders
the
of Set.
arachnids.
Kenneth Grant channeled the Spiders of Set. The Spiders of Set exist in the tunnels of Set. So how does that work? How do you understand that or visualise it? When you look at the tree of life and you see these two pillars and you talk about the back of the tree and you go, well, in fact, there's nothing there. The front of the tree of life we call Universe A. So Universe A is all this. It's all physical. It's everything you've got here. All the interdimensionals that come here to feed off us, which some of the orbs are, not all of them, but a lot of them, they come in through these tunnels and they come out through these little Stargate things that are everywhere into our realm. Well, they reside in Universe B. That's the invisible realm of the supernatural spirits. Universe B is linked to Universe A via these tunnels of Set. Inside these tunnels of Set are the spiders, big spiders. Now, how can I explain this better? Thank you. If you go onto YouTube, type in The Simpsons spiders. No, The Simpsons giant spiders. Now, Matt Groening. We all know Matt Groening. What's the link with the David Icke Matrix? Yeah, I talked about the Matrix earlier. Spiders. So, the giant spiders. Yeah, Matt Groening. Matt Groening is a 33rd degree Freemason. Now, the Masons are set up so they're gatekeepers. They're gatekeepers to all information and everything. Never talk to a low-ranking Freemason. They just think you're absolutely off your tits because they don't know anything. Once you get to 33rd degrees, you know a lot of this stuff. You know how Kabbalah really works. You know about Universe B. You know what the bottom of the tree really is and what's behind it and all this stuff. Now, Matt Groening knows this, and he likes to put secrets into The Simpsons, as everybody knows. So, if you Google The Simpsons giant spiders, you see Homer Simpson. I think he's at, where is he? I don't know, is he at the power plant or something? But anyway, he goes into this road, this corridor, and he's holding a map. Now look on every bit of information in this video is relevant to what you're looking at. Look on his map, pause it, look on his map. Rick and Morty, the spiders, yeah, when they did a thing with the government and there was that shifty words shared between them at the end. That was on Rick and Morty as well. So you go, yeah, so he's walking down this corridor and he's looking at this bit of paper, and look on the top right hand side, you'll see a compass, but it's the nautical compass with the points on it. So Matt Groening has put the Argand diagram on this bit of paper, north, east, south, west, but obviously he's not labelled it real number space, hell space, psi space and C space. What you see then are these tunnels. So what Matt's showing you are, Nora, hello. Haven't heard from you for such a long time. So don't get sidetracked again. Right, so the tunnels. So he's telling you there's tunnels. And Homer's going, go to sector C, C space, so he did mention C space, tunnel 7B. You go, whoa, tunnel 7B, what's all that about? So he opens this door and it's got 7B written on it. He goes in and all of a sudden he's in a room with this giant spider. Anyway, something happens and he says something and then he jumps out of this window and the camera changes and they're in this side street bit and his best mate's there in a car with a mattress on top, so that when Homer jumps out, he's supposed to land on the mattress and save him. And he says this. I had to take a double take. I was like, what did he just say? And he goes, is that Lady Di? And he drives the car forward. Homer jumps out of the window, lands onto the concrete, and he goes, oh no, it's just a pile of rags. So, let's go back to the beginning of when he walks into that tunnel. So he's got a map. He walks into, he opens the door to 7B. So he's in the physical universe A. He needs to go behind the tree of life. So he goes to tunnel number 7, universe B. There are 22 tunnels in Kabbalah that link up. They're the bits that link the Seraphoth together and all this stuff. And I've never studied Kabbalah. I was never interested in it. Didn't give a toss about it, to be honest. I did like the Flower of Life, though. So he walks in and there's the spider. What he's telling you is that Princess Diana was sacrificed to tunnel number 7B in a high Sanhedrin Illuminati ritual to the tunnels of Set. And you go, well, hang on a minute. But she hit pillar 13, not 7. Where'd you get 7 from? And, this is all a bit weird. Well, she was in a tunnel. She hit pillar 13. Let's go back to the Fibonacci sequence. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. What's number 7? 13. So the 13th pillar is tunnel set number 7. And the goddess of Tunnel 7 is the Greek goddess... Oh, I'm going to get this name wrong. Hecate? Is it Hecate? Hecate? No, it's not her fault. She didn't kill them. The Sanhedrin did. And the energy was transferred to her. And they did that. They put that in front of the public. They've told you why they killed Lady Diana in a kid's cartoon, and no one knows what that means. But yeah, go and look the clip up. Go and look it up. And there was one more I was going to mention. I can't remember. But I'll just talk about the Simpsons predicting the future and all this time travel stuff. If you make a cartoon, I totally agree. JFK Jr., in my mind, is completely dead. I know a bit about that as well, actually, and what happened with Hillary Clinton and everyone, and why I could tell you why Clinton killed him, if you want, in a minute.
Yes, please.
So, spiders. Sorry, what I was going to say, Miles. I've done it again, haven't I? Thought of something else.
Spiders, you were looking for the actual name of the goddess of the tunnel. Was it Helena?
Oh, Hecate. Oh, that's it, The Simpsons. So you have an idea for the future. We'll use Trump for this. Let's put Trump... Right, OK, so, yeah. Let's put Trump in a cartoon. I know what would be funny. Let's have him coming down some escalators and there's someone holding a sign. The sign gets dropped. This happens. And then at the end of it, he gets elected and he's the president. That's funny. How many people watch The Simpsons? Millions.
Millions, yeah.
Oh, hang on a
again
minute.
and again.
You're quantum beings. You've got that love-hate thing. You can create from observing. So you're observing someone else's creation in C-space, because everything created ends up in the noosphere, and so you can use it in C-space and all that other stuff. I'm not going to explain all that. So if you have 10 million people at least, maybe more, talking about Trump becoming president, what do you think's actually going to happen when it's someone else's creation? You're going to observe it before it's happened. Therefore, it's going to come into the real world and happen. So you all did it. You all make, you make The Simpsons come true. Matt Groening's not a time traveller. He's a dirty, rotten 33rd degree Freemason who's not telling you what's going on. That's all. Honestly, it's insane. The whole thing is insane. So JFK, right. I'll tell you a little story I told a friend the other day. I befriended someone called Patrick Fitzgerald a few years ago. I don't know whatever happened to him. He was the federal prosecutor that took Scooter Libby and Karl Rove and all those other fuckwits to court for lying about weapons of mass destruction. And he proved it. And he fined Scooter Libby, I think it was Scooter Libby, over $20 million. And he had to pay it and all this. Anyway, after that, they all disappeared. You don't hear from these idiots anymore. And when JFK died, he made a film with someone, one of my friends, a good friend of mine. I've mentioned him in the past. I won't go into it because we haven't spoken about him. He might not want me to mention his name. He was best friends with JFK from a very young age. Psychic child, became his advisor at a very, very, very young age, a stupidly young age. And was on the 6th floor of the depository building when he got shot. He couldn't stop it. He told me...
And he was here as well, and he did some stuff with you and James.
I brought him here, didn't I?
Yeah.
Wow.
Were you, James, and Suhal?
Wow. So they knew that JFK was going to be killed. And what happened was they made a cine film and some newspaper clippings and something else, and they put it in a metal box, and they buried this box under the kitchen floor of JFK's house, and just sort of forgot about it. JFK was then killed. Now, my friend couldn't stop it from happening, but he did warn Lee Harvey Oswald, and Lee Harvey Oswald ran up the stairs to the 6th floor of the depository building and tried to stop them from doing it. One of the shooters was Alan Dulles. I think I've got that right. I'm sure he told me that. And when Harvey tried to stop them, he picked up his gun and tried to knock Harvey out of it. Harvey's put his hand up. The butts hit his hand. That's where they got a handprint from. That's it. He's then run downstairs. Now, can you imagine if you tried to stop an assassination attempt, you've legged it out of a room because you didn't want to be killed, and on your way down the stairs, you hear the gunshots. How would you feel? And then you get to the bottom of the 6th floor depository building and you stand there shell-shocked. Someone in the media takes a photo of you and that's your guilty photo for the rest of your life. It's fucking nuts. So, anyway, there's loads of shit happened to do with that, but I'm not here to talk about that. And then, years later, my friend went and told him. Went and told JFK Jr. that he needs to go to the house that his father had, and he needs to unearth this box, and then he'll understand what happened and who did it and why and all this stuff. And I'll tell you now, it was Nixon, LBJ, and Bush Sr. that did it. Yeah, and I know he killed 2 of them. Bush got away with it. He won't get away with it in the afterlife, I'll tell you that much. Tim will torture the living hell out of him. Big time. Imagine, what's that film? Saw. Imagine going into a room in the Saw films and you get chopped up into little bits and then you wake up back in it. That's what Tim's going to do to a lot of these people. Yeah. So, my friend told JFK, you know, you need to go and do this. So what did he do? He went and told the owner of the house. But the owner of the house happened to be the president at the time, Bill Clinton. So, and no one would have heard this before because no one knows it. So JFK Jr. has gone to Bill Clinton, who works for the Sanhedrin, tells Bill Clinton, there's a box under the kitchen floor, blah, 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 blah. Bill's obviously gone and dug it up. Now, going back to Patrick Fitzgerald, he sent me court documents about a lot of this stuff. And when we were talking about Bill and Hillary Clinton, he said to me, I've got evidence they were on the runway that morning. I've got it. And he sent it to me. He sent me a pack with loads of evidence in it. It blew my mind. And I'm going, oh, what? And this must have been in around 2007 or something. No, it might have been before. I'm not really sure when it happened. And like I said, I've never heard from him since after that. The last I heard, Mossad were trying to blow up the Chicago subway, which ran underneath the federal prosecutor's office. So I don't know what happened, don't know. Hope he's all right. So he said to me that he believes Bill and Hillary Clinton put a charge around the fuselage of this light aircraft with a thing on it, so that when you get to a certain height, it blows and the plane blew in half, which is what happened. And yeah, Bill Clinton. And when you fit it with what happened to JFK in that box, yeah, it's hearsay. I'm telling you hearsay, but I haven't heard a better explanation that makes all that fit together, you know. I really haven't. There's a bit more to all this, but I shouldn't really say without talking to him first, because he...
Oh, come on.
No,
nobody's listening. We're in a small room. Nobody's listening.
I don't want to tell him. Yahweh. I hate Yahweh with a vengeance. Yahweh tried to kill me.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, and I asked him about the Old Testament, and he laughed, and he said Genesis. He said, if it wasn't for the real vampires, Genesis never would have been created. He said, what Jehovah did, kept going back in time, being a 5th dimensional being, backwards and forwards, but linked to the 3rd, kept moving back and changing the past, and wrote Genesis and put the Nephilim in it. So that when Tim, and it's not like I was never going to tell anyone on this either, when Tim created the Nephilim, the real vampires, people wouldn't believe him and stuff like that. But that's past stuff. And I've told you all before, if you're a Nephilim, you have the ability to grow your energy field to the size of the planet, so you encompass everything, which is good. You know.
Well, you have about 10 minutes left in the 2 hours.
Have we been talking for nearly that long?
We've been talking for about an hour and 48 minutes.
Hang on, Christina, Phil McConnell. Did he tell the story of Bill and Hillary Clinton? Because I wasn't aware that anyone else knew about that. And if he has, then that sort of, for me, that's a good thing, because I didn't get it from any source that I read it anywhere, and I doubt Phil McConnell did anyway, so he must have been informed like I was, which is interesting. I've never met the bloke. I've always wanted to.
Well, Phil's had a few issues since that conference.
There's a lot of people I want to meet, but I don't know. I always wanted to meet David Icke, but he'd never meet me.
Well, why don't you just ask David Icke if we...
Can you explain how to get one's awareness back, please? Chakra Rescue. Now, if you've done the Kundalini awakening, you can lose your awareness through that, because the Zion parasite feeds on it and replaces it with its own. Now, Annie's was nearly destroyed, so Tim built her a new one. It depends how it got eaten or lost. If you've got a locked-in parasite, then yeah, it is a chakra rescue, and it is stupid money. But Tim doesn't want to give up a lot of energy to do that when it's a lot of people that might have it. If you didn't do it through Kundalini awakening, and your awareness has been fed off through other means because you've done some spiritual stuff you didn't understand, then Tim does have the technology and the power to actually build awareness from scratch. And because he holds the door to hell space, if you've lost your soul or you're soulless and you want to remain a human and you don't want to know what's coming afterwards and all that, and you want to remain here and live a long time, Tim can actually build you a new soul. And I don't expect anyone in the world to believe that. I really don't, but he can. It blows my mind. It blows my mind what this guy can really do, you know. And I sometimes wonder what would have happened without him. And I think, well, if I hadn't have met him, his stuff wouldn't have accelerated. Me and him were always supposed to meet, you know. And look how I explained earlier. If you've only just joined this conversation and you want to know how I met Tim, go back to the beginning, because it's quite interesting. You know, and the timing, after I'd been to the pyramid as well, it's, you know...
Well, I swear I met him somewhere before.
Yeah, you know, it's incredible. It's incredible. You know, and Tim is a nice, lovely person. He's ever so polite. You know, ever so nice to people in Vietnam. They're ever so nice to him. But if you cross him or try to steal from him, you're a dead man.
And that happened with a book. He mentioned that about one of his books.
And it took,
wasn't happy about that.
And even when I met him and I started...
I mean, do you want to go on for another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
How do you want to go on?
I'll keep going. Even when I met him and I was talking to him, and he used to say to me, no, you need to get... If someone steals from you, you need to go into a zero sum. You need to steal them back, you know, or do something to them, because you've given up your energy. And it adds up. It's debt. It's all debt. When you forgive someone, you're giving away this debt thing. And when you die, you pay for it. Okay. So what he's trying to do is...
I'll just tell the audience,
shock us all into
this is your opportunity.
This
is your last. This is a major opportunity if you want to say anything. This is, focus on it. Get those questions on the screen.
I'm sorry I didn't answer all your questions.
No, there's been piles of questions there. But this is your opportunity to do this right now. If you got anything you want, get it on that screen right away, okay?
You know, I can go back through this afterwards, late tomorrow or something, and look at all these questions, and I can put stuff in the comment on the so I'll look through the live chat. Anything that I think, you know, I've missed you out, if I can answer it, and I can't answer everything. I'm not Tim, whatever. I don't know everything. I'll write it in the comments afterwards. You know, you can tell us about the virus.
What about the virus?
We're working on 5G. The best technology we have at the moment for that is the vampire technology. It does get easier, but Tim still hasn't cracked it. They still try and beam him with the beam weapons and everything, and he does have to fight it. So it does have an effect on us.
But he did say that it wasn't a mistake. It was a mistake, didn't he?
Yeah. What, for them?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they tried to kill him with it. So that allows him to go into a zero-sum game with the entire Secret Services.
But there was also an explosion in a Russian lab, which they had it in as well. I understand. Around about September.
Oh, is there? I don't know. I could get into
that was in the newspapers.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a proper fucktard. He hasn't got a soul, and he's trying to get you to put he's trying to get you to put your consciousness into a microchip. You'll become two-dimensional if you do that. Just think about that. Two-dimensional, okay? Because when your consciousness is in the chip, what don't you have? You don't have your soul. You don't have a biofield. So what are you going to do?
They've been
It's
planning that
insane.
for many years, Duncan.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I do still use dowsing for vortexes. I still look at the vortexes, and I haven't forgot about Mary's stuff. I just had to move. I spend so much time with it. I had to move over to this stuff because it's what the Sanhedrin knew, and I wanted to know what they knew, and I wanted to act on it. And what does it doesn't worry me, but it does concern me a little bit, is that I left Mary's and this happened to me, and I haven't spoken to Mary since, and I need to, but I don't want to do it over the phone. So if you're listening, Mary,
Okay, the mass graves.
please come. If you can get to England, come and sit down with me. We need to talk about all this. I can't talk about it over the phone because I don't want to cause you any issues. If I talk to you on the phone, it's going to cause you issues. I can't do it. We need to talk. We really do. We really do. I can't go back to America yet. That's the problem. I can't. I'd love to. I can get to Vietnam. I've got to tell you, Vietnam felt so different as a country to be in. Energetically wise, it was... Oh, I can't explain it. It's really hard to explain.
Try to explain it.
Right, one more time. It's dangerous to do a Kundalini awakening because your energy bodies are inverted in psi space, and when you come up the back of the spine, it opens the chakra. This Zion parasite locks into you. Then it feeds from your awareness. That's why it's wrong. And the Chinese, Tim talks about the Chinese in this stuff. The Chinese have a different grid system, ley line system. So they're born with these parasites, but they get rid of them. They fall off, they go. That's why you have communism. That's why China just locked everyone down, and they're watching everyone. Not because they're trying to mind fuck the Chinese people. They're trying to protect them from us, the West. Because the West went into China, and what did we do in Hong Kong? We built obelisks. Ooh. We built pyramid-y things. We built statues. All the nasties from down the underworld are all coming out and jumping onto it with the Chinese people as they walk around in Hong Kong. You can't just come along with a bulldozer and knock these things down, because you've then got an energetic version of it still standing there. You need someone like Tim to come along and look at it like Edward Kelly could, or Crowley's assistant, whose name I haven't got a fucking clue who it was. Any of people like that, they can see what's happening, which way the energy's moving, what it's doing, where it's going. And what would have to happen is Tim would have to spend a year in Hong Kong, and he'd have to have a team of people with drilling machines, and they'd have to drill deep down and place certain torsion field crystals into it to take the Western invasion out of China. So if you think China's bad, no, they're protecting their people against us because of that system. They need that system gone, and then they can go back to happy.
That's an old story there.
Yeah.
I mean, what the West did to China, the East India Company and all that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something about what Musk did. Tim saved you from an extinction event, because Musk developed cobalt-59 to put into his batteries. And if North Korea ever fired a nuclear missile at, say, Los Angeles, and it hit one Tesla car, that cobalt-59 in those batteries would turn to cobalt-60. One battery in a Tesla car can kill 1 million people. Now you just imagine if North Korea had fired a missile at the factory that produced the batteries. That would be a global extinction event. So we released that knowledge publicly so that North Korea would find out and Trump would find out. And that's why a couple of years ago you saw Trump going over to North Korea. Well, that's because we released this information, and it changed everything. It changed the way they view each other with nuclear power and everything. And North Korea, they're not stupid. They filled up some warehouses with cobalt-59, and when Trump went over, they showed him and said, if you nuke us, you're fucked, because all the fallout from here will come over to you. So Tim created another stalemate. So Tim stopped it. That stops it. And it was the same with Iran and something else. There was another one, he said. And go look at Katy Perry's...
It wouldn't be Syria, was it?
It might have been Syria. Go to Katy Perry's Chain to the Rhythm video, where she uses all the stuff off our websites in that video, all the way through it. Torsion field technology, non-stop. Look at the bit where they go into the petrol station and the bloke drinks the blue water, cobalt-60. Phrase it. As soon as he does that, in one frame, his face starts catching fire and splitting open. Cobalt-60. Katy Perry knows the score. There you go. there you go. I don't know what else I could say really today. I'm not talking about Jehovah anymore.
Just one final thing.
Jehovah's female, by the way.
Oh, a woman.
A
Is that to do with the divine feminine?
I'm not going into that because everyone will hate me then. But Jehovah is just a female polarity being. That's all. That's all. You know, and yeah, we'll have a special place for them where they can feed everyone that wants a golden age. Because I can tell you now, no chaos entity will ever want any of you to have a golden age. How the hell can a chaos entity thrive in a golden age? It's impossible. What does the Zion parasite look like? A sort of, I can't explain it. There's a Tim did a meme of it once, and I don't know if that's what it really looked like. He'll do a video on it, and you know, you think about Tim and his videos. He's got he could make a 2-hour video for you every day for 25 years, and he still hasn't told you everything about this reality. So, you know, a lot of the questions you've got now, you'll find that Tim will answer them. And if you've got our technology and you've answered you've asked me a question, Tim will hear it.
Okay.
He does that. He hears questions from
in a nutshell,
people.
People out there, Duncan, are really shit scared. There's a global pandemic.
Yeah.
People are looking for help.
I say batten down the hatches.
They don't trust their governments.
No.
Everybody seems to have dropped the ball on this from any level you look at it. Is there any last message you'd like to give to the wider public over what the hell to do with their lives?
Yeah, stop believing everything you read on Facebook, because every single problem or issue that I see come up on Facebook, there's a million different answers for it. Yeah, do not consent doesn't work, I promise you that. You've already consented to it all. It's already done for you. This is why I talked about the rituals at the beginning, the Abraham ritual. You know, it's a thing they did that brings everyone in the future into it already. I know it's hard to get your head around. I know it really is. And I was always the champion of the innocents. Yeah, but they're innocent. They didn't know. How can they be guilty? It doesn't work like that. It's a brutal reality, how I found out. And you know, maybe I'm wrong in some of this stuff, but I'm just telling you all of this from my point of view and my own experience, you know. And yeah, like I say, see where I am in 10 years from now. See if I look any older or not.
Well, where do you think we are going to be
I'm
in 10 years?
I'm 85, by the way. Huh?
Where do you think we are going to be in 10 years' time? In closing, where do you think we're going to be in a year's time?
I've got no idea, because things keep changing. Because of what we've done, if you remote view the future, you keep getting different results on when things will happen. There's not quite a set timing for certain things, major things. And one of those things is Cumbre Vieja. You all need to keep an eye on Cumbre Vieja. Tim talks about it. And when it goes, it's going to ruin the West.
Now, where's that?
Cumbre Vieja is it near the Canary Islands or something?
Yes, yeah.
And what it is, it's a giant volcano. It's on the edge of falling into the water, and when
the west and all the east coast of the United States and north.
I think it's is it west coast? Oh, I can't remember. Africa's there. East coast.
Africa.
East coast.
Western Europe. All the low-lying countries.
Dunno.
And the eastern seaboard of the continental United States and
You're
Central
talking
America.
About 500. It's either million or trillion. It's a big number. It's probably trillion. 500 whatever tons of rock and earth all falling into the sea at once. Whoa, hang on a minute.
There are documentaries on that.
You watched it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, this is a case of
BBC 4. It was a BBC 4 documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make these incredible documentaries.
I think some of it's actually old BBC 2 stuff.
Is it? And it's called "Can We Survive a Mega Tsunami?" It's on Daily Motion. Go on Daily Motion. The whole documentary's on there. It's got to be the BBC 4 one, and they show you what happens. So it falls into the water, and it creates a wave, a sound wave.
Yeah.
So the sound wave travels under the water at the speed of sound, is it? I think it's the
which I
speed
think
of
is
sound.
800 miles an hour in water.
So you've got 800 miles an hour, and you've got this wave.
Fast, in other words.
And it's fast. And it's rippled out, and it's done the coast of Africa, it's done the coast of America. It's the east coast of America, isn't it? Yeah. And then it comes down Europe, and it comes down past Spain and France, and then it hits the English Channel. Now, in this documentary, they say, oh, but there's so many that wave there's a wave, the distance between the first wave and the next one, isn't it like 300 miles?
Yeah.
And there's another one behind it, another one behind it.
I think there's a total of 10 waves.
10 waves, yeah. So you get the first wave come across.
I mean, this is down to how well that thing goes plop.
By the time the water's running off the land, the next one's hitting. Whoa, hang on a minute. Then the next one, you know what I mean? The next one's
And
hitting.
as it goes up the English Channel,
So you're talking, what, every 20
rises.
minutes? Every 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
And on this documentary, they showed the south coast of England, and they said, oh, yeah, it's going to affect all the coastal villages will be wiped away. It'll affect Brighton. It won't affect London. And I'm going, what? It won't? What do you mean it won't affect London? I'm telling you, it's gonna hit. It's gonna hit
400
Wales
feet
and go straight
high.
across it.
It's going to reach here. It's going to reach the bloody
Now,
door here.
here's what they don't tell you. And in this documentary, they were going to governors.
It's going to come
and-
up behind the valley behind me here.
Yeah, and they were going to governors and prominent people and saying, but we're warning you, and no one cares.
It's going to go up the hills where you are.
And
Where
this
you
was
are
the
right now.
mentality of the
Though.
90s. Well, if it happens, whatever. Yeah, well, you do something about it. But anyway, what do you think is going to happen when it hits the mud flood hits the English Channel? Whoa, hang on a minute. It's compressed. It's going to spill over. Of course, it's going to hit London. London is 60 miles from the south coast of England. That's nothing. And even if it doesn't hit London, when it goes through the English Channel, all that water coming out the other side, where does the River Thames come from? The west coast of England. All the water's going to fall back. Can you see this, Miles, what I'm saying? It's going to fall back, come into London and wreck London. It's going to kick
I
the
remember
living
when
shit out
there
of
were floods in Somerset, and they
Yeah.
said all the water on all the floods in Somerset
No,
are
you can't stop it, yeah.
they're going to go down the Thames Valley,
Yeah.
and in a couple
Yeah.
of days it's going to hit London. That's when the BBC suddenly took notice of it, because it was going to hit London. They couldn't give a shit about Somerset.
Yeah.
Anyway, Duncan,
And
this
one
is...
more thing
Yeah.
about that. The other thing they don't tell you in the documentary, all the nuclear power plants on the French coast, and
Yes.
the west coast of England. Whoa, don't even go there. Too much.
Well, we get the Chinese
anyway,
to build
there
them.
you go. That was a good chat. you
Well,
know.
on that,
And the next time we all talk, we can maybe go over a bit of this and then new things and some of the things Tim's talked about. So, and it helps me to understand it, helps you to understand it, and it moves things forward.
that's a good thing.
Yeah?
Well, for Bases 2020, international online conference due to lockdown, sitting in the comfy chair, thank you, Duncan Davis.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I love doing it like this. It's better because I feel like I'm with all of you. We're all chatting away and all this. Yeah, chaos entities, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. There's trillions of them. There's so many I could never count them all. There's trillions.
And
If you want to know how many spirits there are, if you think there's... I'm not saying all spirits are bad, but if you want to know how many there are in this realm, just look at all the vegetation and think, well, there's a spirit for every tree, every bit of grass, and yeah, it's trillions and billions and trillions. You can never count them all. It's a lot. It's a lot.
that's a lot.
All right?
Well,
You're all the best. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for helping me and helping me
And happy
remind me.
days.
It's good. Thank you.
Okay.